so you want to get a drone. Well, first what you need to decide is whether you're going to use that drone as just a toy, or if I had to guess, what most of you want it for is to include in your YouTube videos. Obviously, it's going to have a camera. There are a bunch of choices that you can choose from. I have a Phantom 3 Professional. Obviously, there is a newer version of that, and they've recently come out with the Spark and the Mavic Air, which are a little smaller and easy to get around. Once you pick out your drone, you're going to want to go out and fly it right away, but there's some things you should do first. The first thing you're going to want to do is head over to this website.
This is an emergency broadcast transmission. This is not a test.
This is the FAA's website to register your drone. Costs $5 per aircraft, and it's valid for 3 years. And then once you're done, you will get a registration number that either A, you can write somewhere on your drone with a Sharpie, or if you have a label maker or access to a label maker, it doesn't have to be readily visible, but you do have to be able to show it. You'll also get a little card that you can carry with you that shows that it's registered. Now, the simple registration covers basically everyone. If you want to do commercial drone flights, in other words, you get paid to fly your drone, then you actually have to go through a pilot's training course. So after you register, you're going to write that on your drone, and then I'll show you what to do next. So this is actually the app that I like to use. It is called UAV Forecast. Basically, the first thing you want to look at there is it says it's good to fly. It shows you the weather, the wind speed, wind direction, your visibility. You can go to the forecast tab here and look at the whole day on whether or not it's going to be good to fly. Next, you can go to the wind profile, and that'll show you your wind speeds and temperatures at different altitudes. And there's Portland's airport. You can see that circle is a 5-mile radius. You are not allowed to fly there at all. Where we are going to fly is right here at Stubbs Stewart State Park. As you can see, there are no restrictions there. So this is the app that I like to use. I recommend it to anyone that's going to get a drone. Jump on there real quick, and then you can see what your conditions are going to look like, especially if you're going to fly later in the day or the next day and you're kind of wondering what's going on. And this app will let you know if it's okay to fly. And after you've done that, now you're ready to go take it out and fly it for the first time. So we're going to head over to Stubbs Stewart State Park and show you guys how to fly your drone for the first time and some things you should do every time you're ready to fly your drone. So let's go. Okay, so we're at Stubbs Stewart State Park, and anytime you go to fly your drone, you want to go where there's not a whole lot of people around because it will draw a crowd. Not to mention, there are specific rules that say not to fly over large crowds of people. So we're gonna get this set up. In the meantime, take a look at the view here, thanks to my cameraman. Alright, so anytime you go to a new location, especially with a drone like this that uses GPS, you want to calibrate the compass every single time you get to a new area. Even though it could remember you, I always calibrate it every time I fly for the first time. So you'll see me do a funny little dance to calibrate the compass. Alright, compass is calibrated. Now, a number one mistake that a lot of people make when they first try to take off with their drones is take off very gently. What they're not understanding is that when the drone is sitting on the ground, it's creating what they call an air pillow underneath it. If you don't take off fast enough, the drone lifts up on that air pillow and flops over. So the best thing to do is to take off quickly and just get up in the air about 10 feet and then get yourself situated and ready to fly. There are certain FAA rules, the most important being you cannot fly above 400 feet no matter what. I came out here because it's not near any airports, and I'll give you a shot from the drone of exactly what 400 feet looks like. Basically, I'll fly right over the top of us and you can see what 400 feet looks like. So there's 400 feet. That's about what it looks like. We'll pan the camera up so you can get a good view of the landscape here. Now what you'll want to notice, so the camera there is horizontal. When you actually start to fly, especially with something like this, I always tilt it down just slightly, because if you really start get going, you'll catch the props in your video, and I'll do that really quick so you can see what that looks like as well. Right there you can see the props in the screen because I'm full throttle straight ahead. I'll come to a nice gentle stop, and I'm going to adjust the camera down just slightly, and now I'll get on at full throttle again, and you'll notice the props will not be in the frame. So there's full throttle straight ahead. No more props. Now the thing to remember as you go over hills, the height that you started at is from where you took off. So where I'm at right now, I'm actually out over a higher area. So I'm probably more than 400 feet above the ground at this point. So what you want to make sure is you might want to drop down just a little bit just to make sure that you maintain that 400 foot altitude. Tips to remember when you're doing your drone videos, obviously there's flying straight ahead like we were just doing, but there's also spinning the camera slowly. And then I'll bring the drone back and kind of show you flying side to side and getting some nice side shots as the drone flies sideways. Alright, so I brought it back down and I will do a nice sweeping side shot. Another important thing to remember as much as possible is to always try and come to gentle stops no matter what direction you're moving in, even going up and down. If you're going up or down at full throttle, as you want to come to a stop, you want to gently let off the thumbsticks so you don't come to a jerking halt. Okay, one reason you might want to spend a little more on a drone is for that gimbal. I'm going to show you a quick demonstration as you're watching the drone video exactly how stable it keeps that picture even though the drone is moving around really fast. You can see that the picture is quite level, but you can see what the drone is doing. It keeps that camera nice and level. So we're going to go up and we're going to get some nice views of Stub Stewart State Park. As I come in for a landing, there's two ways to land my particular drone. You can reach out and grab it, or it has an automatic landing feature. I personally prefer to reach out and grab it. I just trust it more. So I'm gonna bring it down and I'm gonna grab it first, and then we'll take it back off again and I'll show you the automatic landing feature. So that's one way to land it. And now what I'll do is I'll set it back down on the ground, I'll take it off, and I'll show you the automatic landing feature. So that beep that you're hearing is the low battery warning. So now I'm gonna have the automatic landing feature kick in. And there you go, it'll land itself. Also, when the battery warning comes on, eventually you can hit a return to home button and the drone will come back on its own. It'll also let you know on the screen at what point, depending on how far away you are, when you need to come back to make it back with enough battery. What you want to do after you're done flying is you want to inspect your propellers, make sure there's no cracks or chips in them. And these are actually pretty strong. I bought these separate, they're carbon fiber props. They make a little more noise and you don't get quite as much speed, but they're really solid. So you always want to give it a good inspection. If there's any dirt or anything, get it off of there. Probably a good idea to check them before you fly as well. You also want to make sure you pack it up the same way you brought it. Put the gimbal guard on it so it's protected inside the backpack. Take the battery out, or at least I do, just so it's not sitting in there. Pack it up nice to bring it back home so it doesn't get broken. It's a good investment, so you don't want it to get broken. This backpack is amazing. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I do a full review on this backpack. It carries so much stuff. It's pretty much got a spot for everything. So if you haven't seen that, I'll put a card up so you can go check that out. But we're back here at home base. I figured I'd answer some of the questions that I got and just share some of the things that I've learned from flying a drone. I answered one of these questions early on in the video as far as licensing goes. The only thing you need to do is register it through the FAA. There are no special classes. What I do recommend is practicing before you just jump right out there and start flying around and expect to get great video for one of your vlogs. Another question that I got was, are they waterproof? No, they are not waterproof. They are not damage proof. You can see in my Detroit Lake video here, which actually has the most views on my channel, that was the first time I really flew way out over water. I was really nervous to do it at first, but the way to look at it is, yes, it is a very expensive piece of machinery, just like your camera more than likely. You have to trust it and look at it this way. If you're flying over land and you're 400 feet up in the air and that thing crashes, it's gonna be broken anyway. So if it happens to be flying over water and crashes, you're probably going to lose it. So either way, you're probably out your drone. You just have to trust it. That's why you need to practice before you go out and fly it. If you can, I recommend getting a cheaper toy drone just to get used to the mechanics of flying something like that. Now mine has GPS, it can land by itself, it can take off by itself, which kind of takes the learning curve out of flying it, but there's still the learning how to adjust the attitude, the height, what shots you want to get, how to move the joysticks to get the movement that you want out of the drone. And one of the most difficult things is actually when the drone is facing away from you or towards you, it reverses the controls. So it's getting used to basically doing the opposite of what you want to do to make sure that you get the shot correct. They're really fun. It adds a great element to your videos. And if you take your time and you practice, then you shouldn't have anything to worry about as far as it crashing. If you have any other questions, feel free to message me on Twitter. That's where I'm most active. I'm going to leave some links down in the description to the FAA website, the DJI website if you want to read about their different drones. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was fun to make. Again, I don't consider myself an expert by far. There are way better drone pilots than me, but I wanted to make a video more for people who were contemplating getting one and to kind of show what's involved when you first get one. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being patient. It was a great day outside today. I had to wait for that because, as I just said, they're not waterproof, and Oregon weather in the wintertime is quite rainy, but it turned out to be a beautiful day, and that was a first for me at Stub Stewart, so that was a great place to go and fly that. So we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys. Trying to think of what else I want to say. Seriously?